Hi everyone. Welcome to Dig 3X. We are doing a special series this month called How to Grow Your Garden, where we bring on our friends to talk about how they're building their spiritual, creative, and personal gardens. We're Dig 3X, as I just said, and it's short for Dig Dig Dig. And if you are not following our podcast called The Archive, you can follow it wherever podcasts are available, so be sure to check those interviews out as well. And this week we have Nia joining us. I'm so excited. I actually started working for Sierra because I saw Nia doing an interview with her, so I feel like it's become full circle. And without further ado, let's welcome Nia. Hello!
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm warm. The whiteness of my sweater was glaring the screen so much, I was like, I have to throw on a scarf or something. So it's a little sweaty in here right now, but it's all good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I just walked in and I'm so excited to talk with you. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to talk with you. Thank you for making the time. I know it's kind of a hectic time. If anyone's looking for a roommate in New York, hit
Look,
up Nia.
really, if anyone's looking for a roommate in New York.
You look amazing. I'm so excited to get started.
But,
Are you feeling good?
yeah, I feel great. I'm very grateful for this Sunday. Because I realize weekends usually come in minutes, and
Yes.
when I have a day, I definitely appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you're getting the time. Okay. Well, let's get into it. I want to ask you, because obviously quarantine has been an adventure for a lot of us, and I think, we're all learning certain things about ourselves, and I wanted to ask you if your relationship with yourself has changed in quarantine, and it probably has, so, like, how has it?
It has a lot. I think going into it, I went straight to Vermont, and then I was home for a bit, and then I came back to New York. And one thing that I've been thinking about that I realized is that I don't think I make decisions. Like I was like, I think you let things happen to you, and so one thing I'm working on is allowing myself to make conscious and deliberate decisions. And so I think the relationship with myself has changed through being a bit more intentional about like how I move, but then also um, just I think talking to myself more. Like I always talk to myself, but I think now it's definitely a what do you have to say? What have you learned? And just being very active in reflecting. So I think that's the biggest way it's changed for me.
That's really cool. Yeah, I know I'm a huge fan of reflecting, so that's awesome. Um, and how have you incorporated self-care, and like what does self-care mean to you?
Yeah, I think self care is something that has changed definitions a few times, especially like the more that I learned. I think I can't remember who was talking about this, but I saw like a video or a tweet or something where they were talking about I have a they were saying, I have a habit of editing how I feel and how I interact with myself. And I think self care for me has definitely changed into editing a lot of how I feel and how I interact with myself. And I think self care for me right now is um, noticing you're not doing anything right now, and
Hmm.
like you're choosing not to do anything right now. And so I think it kind of goes a bit back to choice on what I was just talking about and making decisions, and self care for me myself to make those decisions and choices, and being comfortable and acknowledging that the decisions are for me. Um, and I think that has allowed me to do my face mask and like hang out and talk to friends because I'm just really bad at doing those things. And I don't know. I think I'm excited. I was interested to see how self care continues to evolve, especially as this whole quarantine evolves with us. So yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. That's awesome. You definitely touch on something that I think it might be like my biggest lesson of this time, but it's just like how intentional you sometimes have to be with joy, and just like getting your heart filled up, and you know, obviously that could be like making appointments to be like, okay, I really need to see your face with a friend, um, or being like, I really need to go on this walk on like this day and this day, um, or I'm not going to spend my whole day in this room, you know, and just being so intentional about like how you're moving, who you're talking to, and what you're consuming, to really feel like yourself and feel connected to the things that make you feel like yourself. Yeah. And it's just, you know, like in regular life, you might like go to this event, that event, and it's like, okay, cool. Like I got something out of that. And again, like not be making decisions, right? Because it's like wherever the day takes you. But we have to be making so many decisions and being so intentional during this quarantine. So yeah, I'm really glad that you talked about that. Um, and well, I don't know if this has changed during quarantine, but like in regular life, you're someone that like just does so much, and it's crazy impressive. Um, whether it's you know, like your job or your hobbies or your art, and you know, I want to ask like since you do so many different things, like on hard days where you wake up and you're like, I don't feel like doing anything, like where do you find that memento to really pull through?
Um, some days I don't find it, and I think that's something I've been getting a bit more comfortable with. Like there are many days I wake up like the energy I have is to pull myself out of bed to do the job I'm getting paid for because I have to pay my rent, and I don't have much energy outside of that, and that's perfectly okay. And I think it's a constant conversation with myself of like, well, you know, you have this list of things you have to do, and like, you know, you have to do it, and it's like, no, 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 I know I have to do it, I just can't. And I think for me, I've also, I don't know, I think finding the momentum and the motivation has come from me being a bit more patient
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and realizing when it's okay, you know you have to do this and you're not doing it right now. Why aren't you doing it? I have been working on. I don't think they're thought exercises, but I have been working on um, transferring that energy into something else.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it doesn't have to be, well, you're not doing anything right now. Like, why aren't you doing anything? Instead, it's I see right now what you want to do and what you are doing are at odds. How are you going to um, listen or take care of yourself? Like, I don't know, just really putting me first.
Yeah.
And even though the things that I like to do that keep me up very late, I love doing it. And um, I don't, it's nothing that's like, oh, like I don't want to do X, Y, Z. Um, I don't know. I think if anything, one thing I'm trying to learn is what is discipline, what does it look like, what is motivation, what does that look like, and I don't know, just making sure that I'm not pushing myself to extremes that just don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
like in college, it was very easy to do that, and I think I've kind of been, especially since I'm so recently out of college, I've been thinking and like looking at like what do the two look like because I think quarantine needing to be busy and just being in college needing to be busy while two very separate and they don't look alike, they are very similar in where the like where that motivation comes from. So it's like I don't know, I think social media drives a lot of it, and so I think something that I've definitely been trying to pay attention to is where are you getting your motivation from right now. And speaking of Cicely Tyson, I saw a quote the other day that said, you know, don't get your motivation from rejection. And one thing that I've
Ooh.
so hard to make sure is that my motivation when I wake up is not rejection. It's not need for, well, like the algorithm says you have to like post it. Like, I don't know, just not coming from artificial or just very self-centered places and just more of a like this is what I'm doing today, and that's perfectly okay. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it is a learning and growing process, but I'm excited to see what happens when I get to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm taking care of the things I want to take care of, and I'm taking care of myself. So
Mm. I heard a lot of things there that are really, really important. Definitely, you know, the balance of holding yourself accountable to the things that you need to do to keep on being the person you need to be and want to be, and also knowing when to forgive yourself and let yourself rest. And yeah, that motivation about rejection can't be your motivation, I think is so powerful. I can definitely relate to that a lot. I I think a lot of the time I feel like I have to do something that I maybe don't really have my heart in anymore, or like is like absolutely draining to me because like not even necessarily like that I'll feel like rejected if I don't do it, but like I'll feel um, like people will be so disappointed in me, and or I guess like that's super similar to rejection, and that they'll just like never forgive me for it, and will think that I'm not like a caring person, and I spent like so much of my life being like I have to prove that I care, and it's just like sometimes you just can't be superwoman, and people have to understand that, and if people don't understand that, then like that's their own problem. If you're understanding that they're human, they have to understand that you're human. So yeah, thank you so much for that. And you talked about um, some things that you have to do, as I mentioned earlier, that just like can't really be pushed to the side, and are helping you get to the place you want to be in the future, right? And so I want to ask, like, what is something that you envision or dream about for your future? It could be anything.
I think if I think about my ideal future, labor and work, that's just not part of it. Like I have the things I want to do. Like I'm working at a literary agency and I'm helping sell books. And like even if books aren't in my future, I would love to work in entertainment and help people with their ideas and like get them funded and out the door pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
They would like it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I think right now I'm kind of thinking about like what do I want my life to look like. I think I don't know. Like when I was looking over the questions the other day, I was thinking like, how do you want your life to look? And I think I would love my life to be like some beautiful place where I'm looking out and like I'm doing the things that I want to do because I want to do them, and I am loving the people there and around me because I want them there. And it I don't know. I think a lot of times I kind of bring myself back and I'm like, that's just not realistic. And yeah, I don't know. I think if I could have my perfect ideal future utopia, it's just surrounded by a lot of people I like to hang out with, doing things that we like to do. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, you have to work to sustain those things. But I think that's why I always get tripped up at that part because the things that I want to do in the world that I envision takes a lot of money that I personally don't have. And to get that some amount of money, it takes a lot of things that I don't want to do. Yeah, and so I think I've just been thinking a lot about how do I envision the future. And the reason why I think about it a lot is because you have to plan how you're going to get there. And like I see a lot of videos about like I started saving or I started doing this in like high school, and it's like I didn't. And does that mean like that future that I want isn't attainable? Um, so yeah, I think a lot of thinking about the future. I see a lot of art. I see a lot of friends. I see a lot of music. Um, I don't know. I see a lot of things that make me really happy. And
Mm-hmm.
I think if I see those things, unfortunately, I ask myself, do I also have to see spending a lot of time I don't want to spend securing the funds or the time
Yeah.
to make that happen? So, yeah.
Mm. Well, I trust and hope that it will happen for you. All of those beautiful things. Um, so you mentioned friendships, and I think it's really important to consider, like how we like make space for our relationships in our lives, and how we are fulfilled by them. So I want to ask, like, what role do the relationships you have with others like serve in your life?
Yeah. So after graduation, I thought
Mhm.
about it a lot, and I was just like, I think moving to New York was a huge culture shock in a different way that college was after graduation because I was
Mhm.
like, wow, like all of my friends have their own friends. Everyone I know, like they have people that they already know, and um, I don't want to seem like I was just so concerned with like I don't want to seem like super clingy or super like whatever the case may be. And I think when I think about my relationships with the people, I think about it almost like the future. Like when I'm in the future living that life of cats and music and art, like who's around me. And I think I'm at this, and I don't know if any of this is making sense. But I think I'm at this crossroads roads of like, how do you learn how to be a better person to the people around you while maintaining those expectations or those standards,
Hmm.
but while also giving those same people the room to grow and figure things out while not alienating the people that I would want to be with me down the road.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and so I think my relationships mean everything to me because I'm a firm believer in that the people that you hang out with give a direct view on who you are. And I think something else that I think about, like a kind of a tangent from that, is like, let's say I see your people that you hang around and I have all these assumptions around you. I think I'm also learning slash working to fit in people's assumptions and their readings of certain situations. Because I don't know, I think it all matters. And I think like I could be on this island utopia with all the people who love me, but that doesn't block out the whole world. And
Hmm.
so I think now I'm kind of just working on slash, and I don't want to say working on because I think that means like, oh, everyone I know in my life is up to a test, and if you don't like meet those requirements, you're out. I just think more so of like I don't know, intention, time, energy, like especially in a pandemic, like we only have so much of it. And why would I want to spend it with people who want don't want me really in that scenario? So yeah, I think I really value my friendships and relationships, and I think I also value friendships and relationships that I don't have with people, and I kind of like fangirl from afar. Um, yeah, and so I think going back to like watering the garden, I see the flowers that I want around me, and it's kind of like up to me to at least work to like place them around. So.
Mm. Mm. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Um, yeah, those are so important to nourish yourself with relationships, but also to be mindful of the things that you're letting in and the things that you're surrounding the people, the flowers that you're surrounding yourself by, because those weeds get entangled, and we want to make sure that they're good plants, they're good seeds. um, so um, I think you kind of got into it, the garden theme of this all. Um, how do you build your garden? What are the ways in which Nia maintains her fabulous self and stays sane and powering through?
Um, I think I'm in a place where I'm trying to figure out how I want my garden to look, the types of flowers that I want, because a lot of flowers look like weeds and they're not weeds, and a lot of flowers look like flowers and they're not actually flowers.
Mm,
And so I think I'm in a space where I'm like trying to figure out what do those things look like, and I think I have more questions than I have a vision, which is totally fine with me right now because it's like again, like I think the pandemic brings a sort of um, pause in time, even though things are still moving. And I think even though I am thinking about what do I want my garden to look like, whether or not I like it, I have a garden right in front of me. And so I think while I try to plan while taking care of it, I like to watch movies. I'm very firm with the things that I like and want to do. And like anyone who knows me, they're like, why are you doing this right now? I'm like, because I want to, and that's the only answer I have. Um, and so I don't know. I think I don't know. I'm trying to make sure my garden is built with the right decisions and the right people, while maintaining the one, like whether or not I see what I have in the future or like right next to me, I have the one I have right now. And I think taking care of who I am right now is just a lot of patience and thinking, and like I love my shower thoughts. Like I love my shower
yeah.
thoughts. Um,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. my shower, my food, and just being very, I think a lot about like what I'm putting on my body and like what I'm doing, or what I'm like, just everything, just
Mhm.
everything. And
All of it under the sun.
exactly, yeah, exactly. Um, and so I think a lot of trying to figure out like how to build my garden, how to grow my garden, how to maintain my garden. I think the reason where I get kind of caught up with my gardens is how to maintain it. Um, because things look pretty, but give it a week or two and it's not going to look pretty, or give it like a year or a few months, but it's just not going to look pretty. And so I think I'm kind of just trying to figure out like how do I maintain it in a way that to me it's clear that I'm maintaining my garden. So
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I just want lots of flowers and stuff around me. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Do you have any plants and flowers in your living area?
I do. I have some plants. Yeah, and speaking of garden, like having to leave my apartment at such a short notice, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to get any more plants and like all these things. But my dream is to have like a floating shelf with plants all around
Yeah.
them.
I love plant shelves,
Yeah,
guys.
I know. um, and so I can't wait for that to get there. But I think living things like I love cats.
Did
It's
I
really,
hear a cat? I heard a cat.
yeah. Oh,
I
well,
knew it.
oh, man, I love cats.
Oh, me too. I love
I
to hear
know. Yeah, they're so
a cat.
Um, I think having living things around you is really important, whether it's plants or, I don't know, just something to take care of.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely, I agree so much. My current apartment doesn't let us have plants, but I'm really looking forward to. I mean, sorry, did I say plants? I meant pets.
Oh,
That's so wild.
what?
Like, you can't have plants. You have to be depressed. No, we can't have pets. But I'm looking forward to. I think I'm gonna adopt like maybe an older dog.
Mm,
Just like I feel like they would be a good warmer up to like to a pet because if you get like a crazy energetic puppy in your first like time being a pet mother, a pet parent, I think I would go crazy. So yeah, I think that's what I'm envisioning. Or I guess a cat too. But I've had cats before. Um, yeah, we'll see. I kind of want an old dog. I feel like I'm an old soul, and we'll just chill together. It'll be great.
well, no, it's so interesting. Like when I talk to people, especially around the like millennial, Gen Z kind of uh, generations, because a lot of people older than I am, they're like, yeah, like we just had kids and that's what you did. And like I the sentiment that I've heard from a lot of the people around me is that I'm not ready to have a kid, but I do want some sort of like living thing that I have to keep
Yeah,
of.
yeah.
And it's something that I think for me, it kind of helps me make sure that I'm taking care of myself. Because, but then at the same time, it's like very easy to be like, I can't do it for me, but I can do it for you.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I look forward to when I can have all my living friends around me and we're kind of just hanging out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, it is kind of a human need to like give, not just receive, you know. I always think like how did like pre-modern societies live, communities live, and everyone kind of had a role, you know. Like elders were with youngins all the time, and if you weren't making the food, you probably were like gathering things to like help prepare it, and you probably had like some people living near you that like you helped out, and like probably at some point in the day, like in the communities that that they lived in, that people lived in, or like people still do, and like not very ultra like city areas, like you encounter each other all the time, and there's just like bound to be someone that like kind of needs your help, and even if that's like saying some kind words to them that day, um, and that's I think that's what is really missing in our very modern societies, where it's like you talk to the people that like you talk to your best friends or your family, and it's kind of like decided like who is the helper and who is the helped, or whether it's like that's the parent child relationship, or that can even like take shape in like some friendships. It's like this person's just always going to be like the one taking care of everyone, and this person's just gonna kind of constantly be needing the help, and that's not right.
Yeah.
We all have to switch roles every now and then. So yeah, I
Yeah,
love your commentary on that.
that's so very, very true. And one thing when you were just talking that kind of like made me think, is like I don't know. I don't mind reaching out to people, and I don't mind like being hello and just like talking to people even if they're like, why is she talking to me right now? Like I don't see it that way. Um and I think I don't know. I think we all have needs, and I think the time is especially important right now to figure out what your needs are and how you're going to get them, because
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I interact and see so many people either like in my like general circle or just like generally where I'm like, I know you need something and you know you need something, and like I need you to, it's hard to figure it out, but I need you to figure it out because it's like, I don't know. I think when I have needs that I can't articulate, I'm not the best to the people around me. Um, and so, yeah, and maybe that's more so a personal thing, something that I like have to work on. Because you can't put that on other people. So, um, yeah, that was just something I was thinking of.
Yeah, no, and that's so universal, like if we're feeling like we're in a darker place, we can't show up in the best way to people around us. And um but yes, the thing that you do have to work on is like, saying I'm not feeling my greatest right now, and like maybe it's like you need some extra love and you got to voice that, or you got to take some space for yourself and nourish yourself again. Definitely um be confident to voice that, or to just take your space. I hope that you do.
Yeah, yeah,
No, what were you saying?
yeah. Yeah, no, just lots of I don't know. I was telling you this the other day, but I think these are the types of conversations that you can have for a really long time because there's so many things. It's almost like when you kind of try to root a tree and it just won't end anywhere. It's like no matter you can think that you're at the end of it, but it's gonna keep going.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't know. I think the way that we interact with each other, ourselves, like strangers around us.
Hmm.
I think it's all we have. And
Hmm.
maybe that's why I've just been so obsessed with thinking about it lately, because especially
Hmm.
in, like the choice, I think since our choice of like who we're able to spend our time around and like who makes up our garden is kind of we just don't have that we have little choice in that. And so I
Yeah,
think I don't know, the way that we do interact with each other has been occupying my mind a lot lately.
absolutely. And it's always going to take work. There's never going to be a day where you're like, okay, fully got it in the bag, like fully got it figured out. It's never going to be that day. So, we're lifelong little projects, and sometimes we're doing great, sometimes we're not. But 'tis the adventure of life. I want to open up the like chat to questions. If people have any questions for Nia, feel free to comment.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so glad that you brought me on here. Um, I think it was a very much needed and timely reflection for myself. So I was thinking at the questions, I was like, yeah, like I, you have to think about these things. So it was just
Mhm.
perfect timing.
Oh, yeah, that makes me just so happy to hear. Because I try to um really feel a sense of like who the person that's coming on is, and just I don't know, like I let intuition like kind of speak to me about like what would be some great things that like they would be able to offer to a question. And yeah, these questions just like came to me super super quickly, actually, for you. And I'm so grateful for you, because I mentioned in the beginning, but you doing the interview with Sierra about her art and her work was like came at the most perfect time, because I had this opportunity to get a grant through shout out Bold Women's Leadership Network at Middlebury College, and other colleges that have not every, but some colleges that have a woman president. And yeah, like some of us got grants to work for a nonprofit, or for an artist for a year. And I knew I wanted to work for an artist. And when I saw Sierra talk about her project, I was just like, this is it. And thank God it all worked out. And I've just like been really really enjoying working for Dig Dig Dig. And and also, kind of being her assistant when she was like making a film that's going to come out later. Stay tuned. Um, and yeah, this it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for you. I think so. I was like, what a perfect way to just like bring this all full circle in our last little episode. And speaking of Sierra, she has a question. She asks, "What's been your favorite thing to learn about yourself in the past year?" And or what do you love most about yourself? You two are so amazing. Oh, we love Sierra.
Oh, I love Sierra. Yeah, I think um, with talking to you and just knowing Sierra, I think this past year for me has meant with us being just all of these different places connecting people. And like I'm very firm and I just don't have many answers, but I like to help people figure those things out or connect
Mm-hmm.
with people who do have the answers. And so it makes me really happy when things like that happen without me, like, without it being intentional. Um, and I think I don't know what I've learned about myself. I'm sure I answered this question like earlier. It's not that I don't know what I've learned about myself. I think it goes back to the editing, and I think when I saw the quote about editing who you are and like what you believe based on the information you receive, it was very important for me when I came across it. But I've learned in the past year that I'm an overthinker. I think way too much. And what I'm trying to learn is how do you, okay, in this moment, like this is what you have, this is what you know about yourself, and how are you going to move with that? Because it's very, I don't know, I think it's very destabilizing to like always have to keep going back and forth and like, well, this is how you want to be in the world, but like you also have to, I don't know, it's just, I feel very, I'm coming to terms with the fact that maybe my world is a bit more chaotic than I'd like to think. And I think the thing that I love about myself the most that I've learned is that my life is very chaotic because I think if you look at it as like a tornado, for example, sure, very just everywhere, but things that I didn't think were going to come to me do come to me. And it's very great when I connect with new people or I talk to people that I know, but I learn new things about them. And I'm like, that's perfect because this same person that I think you already know is asking me the same question. Yeah, I don't know. And so, yeah, to answer your question in full, the thing that I've learned about myself is I'm just very excited. And I'm excited to do a lot of things. So if anyone who's watching this has things that they want to do or are equally or similarly excited about just being alive and having the opportunity to do anything, just let me know because as you can see, I am very, I'm excited.
Oh, that's awesome. The world is a great place for you in it. I um I guess I don't have any more questions. I thought I had one. I had so much fun talking to you.
Oh, likewise.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope like everything gets sorted out, and I won't keep you too long. I know you got some stuff to figure out. Um, and yeah, with that, that's our last live. And thank you so much for joining us. I see some familiar names coming up in these comments and viewers. So I'm really thankful for y'all's time, especially you, Nia. And we'll have these on the page for you to check out anytime. Share your friends. And thank you. I love you all. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. It's been so wonderful to connect with people like this and have these really wonderful conversations. And I hope you have an amazing Sunday.
Thank you. You too. Have a great Sunday, and everyone watching. Shout out Sierra. Love you, Miguel. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Love you. Oh, okay. Yes, I remembered it. I wanted you to plug the things that you're working on.
Oh my
People
God.
know that they should follow.
Yeah, so definitely always follow at Girls Club NY, Lower East Side Girls Club. Follow Dig 3X. Follow Bitter Blush. Follow like I don't know. My thing is, I feel like because I'm gonna keep you here for another hour.
No, go ahead.
Please, any question, comments, concerns, like definitely reach out to me. I love to talk to people, so maybe we can create something or we can just talk. So
Amazing. All right.
okay.
Have a great one. Bye, Nia. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.